Hey, Dr. David here, and I want to talk to you about the power of light. And not just light now, but I'm talking about sunlight in particular. And I got to tell you, it never ceases to amaze me about how important sunlight is and how we may have missed it as medical professionals. It always seems to me like the most basic things seem to be overlooked in favor of the more complex, high-tech sort of stuff. So there was a story I was listening to. This is a guy. This is a doctor, four times quadruple board certified physician. I think he has a intensive care, emergency care. Anyway, a couple of board certifications. Smart, really smart guy. He was telling the story about a young kid and his 15, 16-year-old kid with leukemia who was being treated. And then he developed a lung infection. I think it was a fungal infection. And they tried everything. Eventually, he lost one lung. They had to remove it surgically. And then the second one was I think the infection had spread to the second lung. And they were really considering pulling the plug. And his last wish, his last request was that he be taken out into the sun. Take the whole bed and all the equipment, take it all out, leave it out in the sun. And nothing else changed. And then this was someone who was about to die. And he said within 3 or 4 days, the numbers just improved. He got better and progressively got better. Bottom line is that the lung was saved, and eventually he got full treatment for his leukemia, and he's back on his 2 feet. Amazing story. That sort of reminded me of the way back in the 1920s and 30s when they were treating tuberculosis, and how they would take them out into the rooftop. People with TB, have them just breathe the air and expose them to themselves to the sun. And that was the mainstay of treatment for these people with tuberculosis. I guess before they discovered the main drugs that help. So, and of course, more recently, COVID-19, but that's a more controversial topic because they were trying to keep people from going outdoors to enjoy the sun. Even though COVID-19 is an infectious disease that affects a whole bunch of things. Anyway, and it spreads more when you're indoors. Anyway, another story. So yeah, well, that's one of the less honorable times in the U.S. and probably around the world about basically about how they treated COVID-19. But we shall pass that one over. So I wanted to talk about the importance of sunlight. It's not just about vitamin D. You hear me talk about vitamin D, yes, but the sun has a whole range of rays. So you've got the visible spectrum, which has the seven colors. Roy beef is how we used to remember them, from red all the way to violet, and then it has what are known as the ultraviolet rays. So you got UVA, B, and C. I'm not sure about what C does. UVB is what your body uses to create vitamin D. So you don't get vitamin D from the sun. You make vitamin D from exposure of your skin to the sun. That has to be clarified. The sun does not give you vitamin D. UVA rays, what that does, it penetrates deeper. That helps your skin produce, and the blood vessels in the skin produce nitric oxide, which is a very, very, very important chemical and gas that helps to dilate and expand the blood vessels. It does other things as well in the brain, but we'll just leave it at that for now. And then, of course, there's the infrared rays, which have been shown to help with mitochondria. Those are the powerhouse of the cells. They've been shown to help with mood and digestion and a whole bunch of other things. So very important. And then there's also the visible light, where those seven rays, there's seven different kinds of light, where people in the morning, and you've probably heard Andrew Huberman talk about this a lot, where he's like saying it's very important to get out in the morning when the light is still coming out. Expose your eyes, expose your body to light, because that helps you reset. It helps with the sleep-wake cycle, so that when you're going to bed, you're more likely going to be able to go to bed at night when it's dark. So he's saying to go to have a good night's sleep later on in the night. It starts with what you do in those first few hours of the morning. And one of the things you need to do is to go out in the sun. So there's bottom line is that there's a whole bunch of things that being exposed to the sun does. And I get it. There are some people who are very concerned, dermatologists included, about skin cancer, especially for people who are white, pale skinned, who don't tan easily, and blonde hair, blue eyes is what the doctors say. That's like a magnet for certain kinds of skin cancers. Even at that, there are some safeguards you can put in place, and you can protect the parts of the body that are most prone to skin cancer, and still get the benefits of exposure to the sun. And then another point that people raise is that some people just stay away from the sun all year round. Now, when it's vacation time, they go to Spain or Italy, and then they just go crazy. So their skin has not had a chance to build that resilience, shall we say, or build that endurance against the sun's rays, and you're suddenly exposing it to a lot of it at a time. And that, some people say, is what kind of really exacerbates the problem and can trigger conversion and a mutation to cancer cells. Having said that, you do you figure out what works for you, but remember that sunlight is vital for everything, and that's probably why the poorest countries in the world have the most sun. It's for some reason that cannot be compromised. Okay, so I really suggest you take a good look at it and try to find time to expose yourself. I am dark skinned, so obviously I have the least amount of vitamin D and a few other things, and my exposure to the sun is more important to people like me than others. I play pickleball a lot during the summer, and we have a sea of white people all playing, and many times I'm the only black person, and I take my shirt off, and everybody thinks I'm showing off, but that's not the case. I understand that being out in the sun for me as a black person is super important, because this is the time when I'm absorbing and making vitamin D, and I'm storing it away for the winter months when I'm going to need it, and when I will not be able to make vitamin D, especially in the Northeast. People don't realize this. There are parts of the Northeast, Baltimore included, where even if the sun is out, the rays from the sun are not adequate to help you make vitamin D. So what's left, you're having to rely on the stores you built during the summer. And if most people like me tend, and I've noticed this, don't get upset with me for saying this, black people simply don't like being out in the sun the way white people do. I mean, it's one of the craziest things. I truly don't understand it. Somebody has tried to explain it to me, used words like colorism and all that, and I get it. There are different reasons, but still, with the bottom line is that black people like me are the ones who need the sun the most, and yet we are the ones who are taking advantage of it the least. So I'm hoping to kind of flip that and help black people realize that they are doing themselves a terrible disservice by not exposing themselves to the sun on a regular basis, especially during the summer. So I hope this serves you. This is sleep is super. I'm sorry, sunlight is super important for several different reasons, and I hope in the last few weeks of summer that we have left, you will take advantage of the sun. All right. With that said, take care. God bless. Remember to like, subscribe, share this video with others. The reason why we're doing all this is to help empower people to take advantage, to take control of the fate of their brains, so that we can reduce the scourge of dementia, not just in this country but around the world. So everything that we do is towards providing information that people can be empowered with and can apply to better support and improve and enhance their brain's health. With that said, again, I know I've said that already. I will end the video now, and we will talk later. Bye.